My beloved child, if these words have reached your eyes today, do not rush past them. Slow down for just a moment. There's a reason your attention settled here when countless other things could have captured it. I know the pace of your days. I know how quickly your mind moves from one worry to another. Yet, somehow, here you are, before you continue with anything else. I want you to be still and allow your heart to listen. You have been asking me for a sign, not always with spoken words. Sometimes your questions have been hidden inside your silence. Sometimes they have been carried in your tears. Sometimes they have been whispered through a tired heart that simply wondered, God, are you still with me? Yes, my child, I have never stopped being with you. I have watched every moment you believed no one noticed. I have seen the nights when sleep escaped you because your thoughts became heavier than your strength. I have seen the mornings when you smiled for everyone around you while quietly carrying burdens that no one else could understand. Nothing about your journey has escaped my attention. Nothing. Even when heaven seemed quiet, my love for you never became silent. You have mistaken my silence for absence. But silence is not abandonment. A seed grows in silence before anyone celebrates a harvest. The sunrise begins long before the first light appears over the horizon. Many of my greatest works begin where human eyes cannot yet see. That is where you are today. You have been standing between what was and what is about to be. You have wondered if the waiting would ever end. You have questioned whether your prayers still mattered. You have even questioned yourself. But today I want you to hear something that your heart desperately needs to remember. I have not forgotten a single promise that aligns with my perfect will. Not one prayer offered with sincere faith has been ignored. Not one tear has been wasted. Not one act of kindness has disappeared without purpose. Everything placed into my hands carries eternal value. Now listen carefully. When you read the words, only 1 hour left, do not become consumed by the clock. Do not try to calculate an exact 60 minutes. Instead, understand the deeper truth. The season you have been living in is approaching its turning point. What has felt permanent is not permanent. What has felt impossible is not impossible. The chapter that has exhausted your heart is not the final chapter of your story. I am the author, and I have not finished writing. There are moments in life when change happens gradually. Then there are moments when everything shifts more quickly than you imagined. Doors that remain closed for years suddenly begin opening. Conversations you thought would never happen suddenly take place. Strength you thought was gone suddenly returns. Peace settles over your heart without any logical explanation. This is why I have been preparing you, not merely for another ordinary day, but for a new season that requires a stronger faith than the one you carried yesterday. You keep asking me to change your circumstances, while I have been preparing your heart, because when your heart changes, you begin recognizing opportunities that fear once kept hidden. You begin walking with confidence instead of anxiety. You begin trusting my wisdom instead of your worries. My child, I know the disappointment you rarely talk about. I know the dreams you quietly folded away because waiting became painful. I know the prayers you stopped praying because you assumed the answer would never come. But I am inviting you to hope again, not because life has suddenly become easy, but because I remain faithful. The same hands that formed the mountains still hold your future. The same voice that called light out of darkness still speaks hope into impossible situations. Nothing has become too difficult for me. Nothing has become too broken for my healing. Nothing has become too lost for my restoration. Before you continue listening, take one slow breath. Release the fear you have been carrying. Release the pressure to solve everything by yourself. Release the need to understand every detail before trusting me. You do not have to know every step. You only need enough faith to take the next one. That is how I have always led my children. One day, one step one promise at a time. So stay with me. Do not let distractions steal what your spirit needs today. Throughout this message, I want to strengthen your weary heart, remind you of my faithfulness, and help you remember that I am still working in places you cannot yet see. Your story is not ending. It is unfolding. And what I have been preparing, the unseen, will, in my perfect timing, become visible in ways that leave no doubt that my hand has been guiding you all along. So remain here. Open your heart. Lay your worries before me. Because what I want to remind you of next may completely change the way you see the season of your life. My beloved child, there is something I need you to understand about the moments just before a breakthrough. They rarely look like victory. More often, they look like uncertainty. They feel like waiting. They feel like silence. They feel like asking the same prayer one more time when you have almost run out of strength to ask again. That is where many people lose hope. They stop believing because they mistake the quiet for inactivity. But I have never been inactive. Even when your eyes could not see my hand was still moving. Even when your ears heard nothing, I was arranging what you could never arrange by yourself. Think about the seasons of your life. How many times did you look back and realize that something I once protected you from felt painful in the moment, but became a blessing later? There were opportunities you desperately wanted. There were relationships you thought would last forever. There were plans you believed could never fail. Yet they slipped away. You cried. You questioned. You wondered why. Today you can see that what felt like loss became protection. The closed door kept you from walking into unnecessary pain. The delayed answer gave you wisdom you would not have gained otherwise. The waiting strengthened your character more than immediate success ever could. This is why I tell you not to judge your story before it is finished. You see one page. I see the entire book. You measure today. I measure eternity. You become discouraged because you cannot see tomorrow. But tomorrow is already in my hands. There is no surprise waiting for me. Nothing catches me off guard. No obstacle is greater than my power. No delay is stronger than my purpose. My child, you've spent too much time believing that your value depends on how quickly things happen. You compare your journey to others. You see people celebrating achievements while you continue waiting. You wonder if I have chosen them and forgotten you. Do not believe that lie. Comparison has stolen enough of your peace. I created your path differently because your purpose is different. A fruit tree and an oak tree do not grow at the same speed, yet both fulfill the purpose for which they were created. In the same way, I am growing something inside you that cannot be rushed. The roots must grow deeper before the branches reach higher. If I gave you everything you asked for before your heart was ready, the blessing itself could become a burden. So I prepare the person before I release the promise. That is my love, not my punishment. Remember how gold is refined. It passes through intense heat, not because it is worthless, but because it is valuable. The fire does not destroy the gold. It removes what does not belong there. In the same way, the difficult season you have endured has not been designed to destroy you. It has been removing fear, removing pride, removing unhealthy dependence on people, removing the belief that you must control everything yourself. Little by little, I have been teaching you to lean on me instead of your own understanding. And although the process has been uncomfortable, it has also been holy. You are stronger today than you realize, not because you never cried, but because you kept trusting me even while you cried. That kind of faith moves my heart. Perfect people do not impress me. Trusting hearts do. I have seen every quiet act of obedience. Every time you chose kindness instead of revenge. Every time you forgave when bitterness seemed easier. Every time you resisted the temptation to give up. Every time you whispered, "Lord, help me," when no one else knew you were struggling. Those moments mattered. Perhaps no one applauded them. Perhaps no one noticed. But heaven noticed. Nothing done with love is ever forgotten. Nothing surrendered to me is ever wasted. And now I want you to stop focusing on everything you think you have lost. Instead, look at what remains. You still have hope. You still have breath. You still have purpose. You still have the ability to choose faith today. As long as I have given you another sunrise, I have given you another opportunity. The enemy wants you to believe that your best days are behind you. I tell you they are not. The enemy wants you to think your mistakes define your future. I tell you my mercy is greater than your failures. The enemy wants fear to become your identity. But I call you my child, chosen, loved, known, never forgotten. This is why I say that the hour before the breakthrough often feels the darkest, not because darkness is winning, but because dawn is already approaching. Do not measure my work by your emotions. Some days you will feel hopeful. Other days you will feel tired. Yet my faithfulness never changes. It is constant. It is steady. It is unshakable. Just as the tide returns without fail, just as the seasons change according to my design, my promises remain secure. So do not give up now. Do not let discouragement convince you to quit one step before the answer arrives. Keep praying, keep loving, keep serving, keep believing, not because life is always easy, but because I am always faithful. The hour you have been waiting for is not merely about receiving a blessing. It is about becoming the person I created you to be. And when you look back, you will understand that I was not delaying your future. I was preparing it. I was preparing you. And what I have begun in your life, I will bring to completion. There is a reason I have been asking you to stay close to me during this season. What is about a change in your life will not begin with dramatic sound or an announcement for the world to see. It will begin quietly, just as a seed breaks open beneath the soil long, before anyone notices the first green shoot. I often begin my greatest work deep within the heart. The world celebrates what is visible. I transform what is hidden. Many people ask me for bigger opportunities, but before I enlarge their assignment, I enlarge their heart. Many ask for influence, but I first teach them humility. Many ask for abundance, but I first teach them gratitude for what they already have. This is the way I work. I build from the inside out. And that is exactly what I've been doing in you. There were days when you believed nothing was changing, yet every challenge was strengthening your faith. Every disappointment was teaching you perseverance. Every unanswered question was drawing you closer to my wisdom instead of your own understanding. You thought you were standing still, but your spirit was growing. My child, the greatest miracle is not always the one that changes your circumstances. Sometimes it is the one that changes your perspective. When your perspective changes, fear begins to lose its grip. Bitterness starts to melt away. Hope returns. Peace replaces panic. You begin to recognize my fingerprints in places where you once saw only disappointment. You start thanking me before you see the answer because you trust my character more than your circumstances. That kind of faith opens your heart to receive what I have prepared. Do not underestimate the power of quiet obedience. The world may never applaud the moments when you chose integrity over compromise. No one may know the temptation you resisted. No one may see the tears you wiped away before stepping into another day. But I saw them. I have always seen them. Every choice to walk in love instead of anger. Every decision to forgive instead of holding on to resentment. Every act of generosity that no one celebrated. Every prayer whispered when your voice was weak. None of it has been forgotten. Nothing offered in love is ever wasted in my kingdom. You may wonder why I allowed certain battles to last so long. The answer is not because I abandoned you. It is because some victories require deeper roots. A tree with shallow roots may grow quickly, but the first storm can destroy it. A tree with deep roots stands firm through wind, rain, and changing seasons. I want you to become unshakable. Not because life will never bring storms, but because you will know who is holding you when they come. You have prayed for strength. Strength is not given through comfort alone. It grows through trust. It grows each time you choose faith instead of fear. It grows every time you say, Lord, I don't understand, but I still believe you are good. Those prayers are precious to me. They reveal a heart that refuses to surrender to despair. My child, there are moments when you think you have reached the end of your strength. Yet that is often the place where my strength becomes most visible. When you finally stop depending only on yourself, you discover that my grace has been carrying you all along. You were never meant to carry every burden alone. You were never created to solve every problem by yourself. You were created to walk with me, to trust me, to place your worries into my hands day after day. That is not weakness. That is faith. Remember what I have taught throughout history. I have often chosen ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary purposes, not because they were perfect, but because they were willing. Moses felt inadequate. David was overlooked. Esther faced fear. Peter failed. Yet I worked through each of them because they trusted me more than their limitations. The same is true for you. Do not allow your past to speak louder than my promises. Do not let yesterday's mistakes define tomorrow's possibilities. My mercy is new every morning. My compassion never runs dry. If you fall, I invite you to rise again. If you become weary, I invite you to rest in my presence. If you lose your way, I remain the shepherd who lovingly calls my sheep back home. You have spent enough time looking backward. Today I ask you to lift your eyes. There is still purpose ahead. There is still hope ahead. There is still joy ahead. The chapter you are entering will require courage, but you will not walk into it alone. I will go before you. I will walk beside you. I will remain behind you as your protector. You do not have to force every door open. When the time is right, I will open the doors no one can shut. And when I close a door, trust that I am protecting you from something you cannot yet see. So keep your heart steady. Keep your eyes on me rather than on the uncertainty around you. The world may shift. People may disappoint you. Plans may change. But my love remains constant. My promises remain trustworthy. And my presence remains closer than your next breath. The change you have been praying for is not simply about receiving something new. It is about becoming someone new, a heart that trusts more deeply, a spirit that stands more firmly, a faith that shines more brightly. Stay with me a little longer, because what I want to remind you next may become the very encouragement you need for the season that lies ahead. My beloved child, there are moments in life that seem ordinary while they're happening. Nothing appears different. The sun rises as it always has. People continue with their routines. The world keeps moving. Yet beneath the surface, everything is changing. This is often how my work begins. Quietly, faithfully, without seeking attention. You have asked me many times, Lord, where are you? The answer has never changed. I am here, closer than your next breath. Walking beside you when you feel alone, holding you together when you feel like falling apart, speaking peace even when the noise around you tries to drown out my voice. You have looked for dramatic signs while I have been offering gentle reminders every day. The sunrise that greeted you this morning, the unexpected encouragement from someone you least expected, the strength to get out of bed even when your heart felt heavy, the peace that suddenly settled over your mind during prayer. These are not accidents. They are reminders that I have never stopped caring for you. Sometimes my greatest miracles are not loud. Sometimes they arrive quietly enough that only a grateful heart recognizes them. My child, the title of this message speaks of only 1 hour left. Do not become anxious about counting minutes. Instead, let those words remind you of something greater. Never assume that because you have waited a long time, nothing is changing. Some of the greatest moments in history seemed impossible until the very moment everything changed. Night gives way to dawn in what feels like an instant. A single key can unlock a door that has remained closed for years. One conversation can redirect an entire future. One decision to trust me can begin a completely new chapter in your life. Never underestimate what I can accomplish in a moment, but understand this clearly. The greatest impact I desire to make is not merely around you. It is within you, because when your heart is transformed, your life begins to reflect that transformation. Fear no longer controls your decisions. Bitterness no longer poisons your relationships. Worry no longer steals every peaceful moment. Instead, faith begins leading you. Love becomes your response. Hope becomes your strength. Peace becomes your foundation. That is the life I desire for you. Do not spend your days chasing signs while ignoring my presence. Seek me first. When you seek me, you will discover that I have been guiding your steps all along. The answers you desire are important, but my presence is even greater than the answers. Because circumstances may change again. People may come and go. Opportunities may appear and disappear. But if you remain rooted in me, you will never stand on uncertain ground. You have carried burdens that were never meant to remain on your shoulders. You replay conversations that cannot be changed. You worry about tomorrow before tomorrow has even arrived. You carry guilt for mistakes I have already forgiven. Lay those burdens down. Bring them to me. You were never created to live imprisoned by fear. You were created to live in freedom. Freedom does not mean a life without challenges. It means a heart that remains secure because it knows who is in control. My child, there are people who underestimated you. Some doubted your abilities. Others misunderstood your heart. You spent far too much energy trying to prove yourself. You do not need everyone's approval. If you continue walking faithfully with me, let your character speak louder than your arguments. Let your kindness speak louder than your anger. Let your consistency speak louder than temporary success. In time, the fruit of your life will reveal the work I have done within you. Remember, a tree never struggles to convince people it is alive. Its fruit does the talking. Live in such a way that others see my love reflected through you. Not because you seek recognition, but because you desire to honor me. As you continue this journey, there will still be days when questions remain unanswered. There will still be moments that require patience. Faith is not believing that every day will be easy. Faith is trusting that I remain good on every day. Whether you stand on the mountaintop or walk through the valley, I remain the same. Whether you celebrate or grieve, I remain the same. Whether you clearly see the path ahead or can only take one careful step, I remain the same. And because I remain the same, you can trust me. Today I invite you to release your timeline into my hands. Stop measuring your life by what has not happened yet. Instead, thank me for what I am already doing, even when it is still hidden beneath the surface. Trust that every prayer offered in faith matters. Trust that every act of obedience carries eternal value. Trust that every season has purpose. Trust that I finish what I began. So before you leave this moment, pause with me once more. Take a deep breath. Open your hands before me. Release your fear. Release your disappointment. Release your unanswered questions. And receive my peace. Not the temporary peace the world offers, but the peace that remains steady because it rests in my unchanging love. Walk forward today with courage. Walk forward with hope. Walk forward knowing that you are never abandoned. Walk forward believing that I am working even when you cannot yet see the outcome. Keep your eyes fixed on me. Keep your heart open to my leading. Keep choosing faith over fear. For I am with you today. I will be with you tomorrow. And I will remain faithful through every season of your life. May my peace guard your heart. May my wisdom guide your steps. May my love strengthen your spirit. And may you remember, wherever you go, that you are deeply known, dearly loved, and never beyond my care. Amen.